It's just stupid because you'll hear all these like gang members, like, it's like, well, why didn't they close this case a long time ago? Oh, I don't know. Maybe because you guys keep doing the no snitch thing. So then it's kind of their fault too, right? Uh-huh. And so they start playing this game, and it's like, well, you guys are the ones that were not cooperating, so if you don't cooperate, how do you find the truth? Like, everybody's lying, right? That's why I said I would never want to do these gang member cases because they all act like this. So then it's like, okay, well, everybody's a liar. So how do you get to the truth? It's a worse puzzle piece because in most cases, like I'll go through, right? There'll be one or two or a few sociopaths, right? You get a couple. You'll just get a couple, right? Or one, and it's just a matter of who's the one that you find. And then you can figure out, oh, okay, so everybody else is telling the truth, and it's that person right there that is the liar. That's the Chase Merritt, right? Here it is like thousands of Chase Merritts, and you're sitting there going, where do we go? It's that complicated. And then they're sitting there like, why didn't you make arrests a million years ago? It's like, and again, it's self-caused because you guys don't cooperate. I'm not out here trying to bust all the drug rings. You know what I mean? The thing had to do with me specifically, and then cops covering it up. So that's really the big question. And what I know was involved in this circle here of people. And if you don't help with information, then we can't get to the bottom of this. But then it could be a thing that they are involved in that entire thing, and that's why they're not cooperating, right? Oh, and I should point out, even the Hispanic gangs had no issues with me because, you know why? Because I worked with a lot of their girlfriends, I'm pretty damn sure. And so I got along with everybody. I wasn't involved in anybody's private, personal shit over there. So there was no targets on me from any other gang members. I'm just saying because, I was pretty kosher with everybody, right? And yeah, a lot of them worked in the clubs. So, everybody for the most part got along except for my own friend that was like totally like wants to beat everybody up. Okay, so we had to deal with that thing, but no. The only people that there was some issues with was some of the Asian there was that rich crowd of guys. It wasn't the street ones so much. It was the ones that were in tie with the officers. So again, I don't know what they were called. Yeah, apparently, yeah, there's a thing right there, but even them, I haven't noticed any activity from those people other than it would probably be through cops if they were gonna be effing around. So I don't know. I'm just saying what I know, but it's not like, no, there was nothing that indicated. The only thing that it indicated was that those gang members, those guys, that they had the sheriffs help them out. So it was going on like that. So the same thing could be going on here where the cops are helping Suge out and he's like the biggest loser out here. It could be like that. It's weird. The thing to me is weird is like why I pulled Suge in this. So it is, I don't know. I can't answer it. It may be that I did totally see him and it's a subconscious thing right now where it's just like, I'm going on this thing. It was correct though. He was there. Down the street. And I was over there a lot because my work was a little past that place right there. And I talked to so many people. There's no way in hell I could pull up my memory like that. I have a good memory, but not like that.
What your reaction is to the arrest of Keefe D?
Well, surprise number one, because I didn't think Keefe D would never get arrested. Nor do I want to see him get arrested. Let's get one thing straight, first and foremost. Me and Keefe D played on the same Pop Warner football team. And whatever the circumstances, if he had an involvement with anything, if he didn't have any involvement with anything, who want to see? I wouldn't wish somebody going to prison on my worst enemy.
Do they have it right?
It was only two people in the car. And Pac not going to tell the story. I ain't going to tell the story, but I tell you this. And I never had nothing bad to say about Orlando because, number one, he wasn't the shooter. Number two, he came to my hearing and told to let me go and told the truth. They still didn't let me go.
Is not the shooter, although you won't say who the shooter was. You are not saying whether Keefe was involved in any way in the shooting, and you are saying that if you're called to testify by either side, you will not comply, you will not testify. Do I have that right?
1,000%. I wouldn't go, I wouldn't testify, none of that.
Suge's a freaking idiot, dude. I told you, none of these people are complying, and they won't, and somebody pointed out this other guy in the car. He said there was only 2 people in the car, but technically there was 4, right? So I don't know if he's trying to say, like, it's not that dude and not his buddy, and then pointing out to the other 2, but somebody said it's another guy, the other big guy. I'm like, the other big guy. I don't know. Here's the thing. I don't know what the hell happened over there because I wasn't even over there. It's just what I do know. What I do know is there are corrupt cops in this, okay? Suge's the one that wants to fucking hang out with the shitty ass cops, right? Is it Suge? Isn't it Suge? Okay, watch. Let's go to David Mack. Because some of you guys might not know this entire story to understand why my stuff is popping up with this. Okay. So I've been talking about a guy that we gave a nickname to that we don't know who he is. He's an unidentified individual that it could be Suge's friend, it could be anybody's friend, it could be a informant, and it could be David Mack. It could be any of these people. Well, David Mack actually was with the department since 1988 to 97, okay? So he was doing shit. They leave out the early parts though. For some reason they feel the need to put his early life about how he was great in sports. It's like, we don't give a shit. When did he start at the, what do you do with LAPD, right? And then it goes right into a bank robbery, right? So this is where the story gets really strange. Okay, so like I said, I didn't know Suge Knight. I didn't know any of these people, yada, yada. Okay, so 2 of their buddies came up to me, and they were some human trafficking kids out here, okay? They were human trafficking kids every fucking where. These son of bitches didn't care, okay? There wasn't a thing where they're like, ew, you're a pedo. Hell no, these guys are raping everybody out here, okay? So, it just so happened that I believe now today, that the 2 guys were the ones with Dr. Dre and them doing a recording. Like, they came out here and did some bullshit, right? And I don't know what the fuck they were doing down the street. That's the thing. So I don't, for sure Suge Knight was down the street and he was recording at a Hollywood studio, and I guess he beat up some people. And by the way, Suge is trying to get out early, so no, I don't think he should ever get out, okay? Like, keep that thing in there. He can't be trusted. And I don't think he has any empathy for any of this crap, you guys. He doesn't care. It's all about him. So, and, if somebody killed my friend, I mean, there's a lot of other things I would do about this, but he's like, oh, this is my buddy from football, because I just read that thing that, they grew up together and played football. I go, wow, it's interesting. He's like trying to take him out, your own buddy there. I don't know, but yeah, some bullshit. So, and it could be some other stuff, you guys. That's what I'm saying. I go, these people are the most non-cooperative son of a bitches ever. Their whole no snitch thing. But it's like, what, they can't tell on bad cops? I mean, I don't know. So then it makes you think like, oh, maybe the cops are his buddies, I don't know. I don't know why all these white guys would be. The other guy actually could be too. That's why I was like, I don't know if that's part of that shit over there, because they were watching the drug ring leader. And what I find weird is they talked to me more like an informant. Like the way they're talking, it wasn't I don't know. I can't answer it. You know what I mean? Like I don't some of these people are bizarre, and so I didn't even know that they were hanging out together. I didn't know the different gang members were like actually kind of getting along and hanging out. So I was like, there's no way in hell I could explain this story because I don't know the inner dynamics of those dudes, and nor were they really a part of the story other than the two guys that came up. But what I do know is that the other guy had talked to the two that they were recording, right, from this group of guys, and then they complied. And I was like, so over the years, I was like, God, that whole thing is so weird because no random person would do that because they're gang members, okay? Like, no random guy is going to go, I'm going to go tell this guy to get away. And he has, like, this big old gun and shit. So I was like, there's something bizarre about it, right? But I didn't have any suspicion of the guy itself at the time because he was being protective, right? So there was a thing about it. But the more I thought about it, I was like, oh, well, we don't know if that's a cop. That actually could be one of the informants that they're talking about. So then what came up, the case came up and they got arrested, right? But I didn't really go through the whole entire specifics of the case, right? I brought up the case actually for years, actually on TMZ. Harvey there could go through the comment. Like I had legitimately been like, maybe Ola should give me my shit back. You know, I was like making these comments because she went to go sue Michael and all them. And I was like, yeah, it would be nice to get my fucking money back. Yeah, I absolutely did. So, but technically, it was these other guys in the thing here. So, yeah, so I found out some more information about it, and then finding out that, yeah, indeed, Suge was down the street. Indeed, this thing was there. And indeed, these people were dealing with this bullshit with Dr. Dre and all them. Okay, fine. So then the next portion of this story goes into beyond, the holiday dude, is these cops, okay? So these cops were being extraordinarily corrupt. I mean, it's an understatement. What was going on here? Flirting with kids, raping kids, setting up kids to get kidnapped, watching rapes on the street, fucking, and then covering up a drug ring. Okay, so this is the main meat of this story. So, and it didn't click because at the time when it happened, I was telling, when I was in the recording studio in Orange County with some, those other people, the Christian people, I was like, when I was over there, I was telling them, yeah, man, these people stole all my stuff and yada, yada. And it was one of those things where it's like, you don't even want to go back into any of that. It was really bad. And then, I was saying, because I thought it was like $50,000. It was actually like I said, it was actually more like 10. It was in the 5 figures for the cost of everything that they did in like this 6-week span. It was 6 weeks. It was around 6 weeks that they went on this rampage on me and shit. And physical and mental harm and financial things that they did here. So, and then I just put it out of my mind. Like I was trying to just heal. And my healing was, let's just never think about it again. So I didn't really go into the detail. Like I didn't think about it. You know what I mean? So I wasn't going, oh, there was this cop here and this happened. I just knew that they did me wrong. And I just put it away because I felt like there was nothing I could do about it. And, to get into this whole thing here is just, it just brought back this was like the worst. So then, I was getting targeted here. Okay, so then cops were showing up by my house. They were citing my car. They were doing, frivolous stops. Like there was a lot of this going on, and it felt like, oh, is this what happens to everybody? It was kind of like this weird thing. And, Like, they're just all piece of shit, you know? Like, you're going on this thing about it. So, yeah, and then there was a setup here when I took off to go to Alice, right? To go with them over in Sacramento. And then somebody took my car, right? So the car, we think, they put a GPS under. This is the suspicion of this entire thing right here. And then what I think they did is put another one under the secondary car, because it's impossible to find me this many times in a day, okay? There was some things here that makes it just near impossible. And in every other city, right? So they set me up in this situation to be able to do that. We'll put it that way. So there was a setup in order to do that, and everybody was trying to make me homeless and take everything I owned. So I don't know. So anyway, then the next setup was the following year, right? So in the middle of this whole Tupac and Biggie thing's going on, right? I know nothing about it. Not a goddamn thing. Otherwise, I'd be throwing out some information here. No, I didn't. You could tell me their names back then. I'd be like, who? So, because I didn't listen to, rap really back then. My friends did though. Everybody around me would know exactly whoever he is because they were telling me like, oh yeah, we were gonna go over to this thing with Biggie or something like that. I was like, oh okay. So yeah, no, I'm the only one out of the loop with that stuff. So yeah, so I was like, okay, that's weird. So our job is right there at Rampart, and I was getting harassed there, and I asked some of the people, I go, did you guys get harassed over there? No. Okay, so it was only me. Okay, so why is it only me? This is bizarre because I'm not the one doing anything illegal over here, right? It's, the job is, and some of the girls that they forced, you know what I mean? Some of those girls got forced into stuff, but they weren't getting harassed, like I was. And I'm like, this is fucking bizarre, dude. So then, yeah, so my work was literally over by, the Biggie thing, but I don't know where I was located on the night of that. Other than I know that I had worked right over there, and then I worked at another place that was in another area nearby. And then, but no, we were in or next to Rampart. Like on the map, it shows it like right there. So, yeah, basically. So I was like, yeah, I was getting harassed like all the fucking time. And then I got kidnapped to a fucking casino, basically, because they stole all my money here, my work money. And then I go, so Alice's people, they had us go over there, right, into Las Vegas in 97. So this is in August, right? August 97. So Rampart's going on. And all of a sudden, this Dave and Mac and them go rob the fucking bank in North Hollywood, right? In November. So, but in August, this is when the Mad Pile group of cops start chasing me in the fucking desert and demanded money. And I'm like, okay, this is bizarre because we were going to follow the bus, I guess, because they wanted me to follow the bus. And then they came back later. It was like the minute I went backstage, they said, oh, you know what? At the end of the night, you should wait and then follow the bus and then just wait for us to leave and then just follow us to the next venue. Like they're going to go. This is stupid because I have to still drive to Woodland and they were going to drive into San Francisco, San Jose area, right? But it would have just been me, I guess, following them till when? I don't know, but strange stuff, right? So they were telling me to do that. And I wanted to go through the state of Nevada because I'd never been outside of California, right? So I was thinking, oh, this is a great time to do this. So let's just go drive somewhere in the middle of the night through a state I've never been through. And then, and then this thing happened. And it just makes it bizarre because the cop was already waiting like in a gas station. And it was just me. I walked up, I said, do you know what time it is? And this is where it triggered off. And so I was like, this is weird because there's nobody on the roads, right? It was like dead. Like there's not another human. And the only other place that you would get gas is this place, right? Like you drive for a long time and then this would be the next stop that you would go. And then, so I was told it was a total trap anyway, that place right there. But then this happens and no, it's just what happened next is just what they chose to do. So there was like a tank of cops. Like I said, there was a mad pile of them. Like they were going after some type of suspect down the fucking freeway. You know what I mean? That type of thing with tons of cars. And I was like, oh, I should pull over because they're probably going after something somewhere, right? No, they came after me. All that for me, dude. I was like, and yeah, but like I said, they were totally corrupt because they're like, oh, you can go shopping. We'll just kick back out here. And I was like, yeah, I knew we were in trouble. I knew we were in trouble right here. So yeah, then they asked for money. And then, yeah, later they made the threat that it was going to be forever. Yeah. And the judge was involved in that. And everybody was that whole city right there, the government there, whatever, because it's a small fucking town. They were all involved in corrupt conduct. So why is the Dems like doing fucking business over there? You know what I mean? There's some other thing going on there, because that needed to be investigated, and they actually had knowledge of it. Because when I called Las Vegas PD, I asked them, I go, no one's answering the phone over there, so I can't do investigation. And somebody's warding something off. So I don't know what's going on here, right? So I don't know how they would know my number calling, but yeah, there was they wouldn't answer the phone. So then the Las Vegas PD said, oh, this is the dumbest comment too. They're like, oh, I thought they cleaned that up a while ago. So they had knowledge that there was some shit there, right? Then they go, oh, those people are probably not there anymore. And sure enough, there was a shitload of them from California that actually went to go work out there in the early or the late 80s or 90s. And they were still fucking there. They were still fucking there when I was doing my investigation. So this lady talking like that, she's dumb as shit. I don't think she purposely like said something like that, but I think she's just dumb. And just assumes stuff and makes comments like that. No, a lot of these guys are still working, actually. Even in LAPD, they're still working from the time that they got me raped and fucking kidnapped. They're still fucking working. Right now. Because FBI, those trash son of a bitches, and the DOJ, and the state attorney did not want to do any proper investigations into this because LAPD wasn't. LAPD blocked me from going into 1992. So the problem here is there's a shitload of police gang members doing criminal activity and doing stuff with drug dealers because and I don't think, here's my thing with it, and I could be wrong. I don't think the Russian Paul drug ring was tied with the Crip gang members. I think this is just my thinking of it because I was looking at it. I think they were like a rival, like they didn't want them there. Because when I was looking at it, I go, well, why is the guy trying to attack? Why are they going after the other guy, right? And then the other dude's watching him. So I'm thinking like maybe they're like watching him because they want to like really get rid of him. You know, or just making sure they don't fuck with their shit. Like something, right? Like I'm not in that whole bullshit, but as I'm going back into it and thinking, it wasn't something I would thought of then because I didn't know it was this ring thing, right? So, and I didn't know who the leader was of it. So that was the other thing about it. So I was like, yeah, no, I would have just said Ola, man. Ola'd be fucking around with some fucking crack and shit up in here, you know? I remembered the guy, and so I was like, because I thought the guy was ridiculous, and they would meet up with the guy, but they met up with a lot of people. That's the thing. That wasn't the only guy, but that guy, he met up with quite a bit, and there was a bunch of people. You guys, it wasn't. Oh, I should have known because he kept meeting with this guy. It was like, no, he kept meeting with that guy, but he kept meeting with a shitload of people. But I remembered that guy, and because I was looking in the media when they got them arrested, I was like, Really? It was kind of like that. And I go, oh, that's the one that was across the street, where the Dre people, those people were hanging out on the other side. And they were telling me about those shit fucks. Because they hated him. They hated the guy, the other guy that we pulled up in this thing. And I was like, yeah, I don't, it didn't seem like they were together at all because they were trying to kill him. Not the guy that I was talking to. I mean, he hated the guy. That dude was trashing him to no end. And so I was like, I can't tell you if the guy that I'm hanging out with has a relation to the other cops. Okay, so then a setup happened. Now, the problem here is I don't recall how I met the guy that set me up. Because I believe that they're both in tie together, the police officer and the normal dress guy, right? Yeah, because, well, first of all, he kidnaps a kid. You can't go fucking taking kids off it from anywhere and bring them into your house. Who are these people, right? This guy says that I could stay the night because I told somebody that I'm trying to leave the area, so I'm trying to go back home. I need to escape these son of a bitches, right? So they say, okay, you can stay the night here. And then I said, yeah, I'm going to leave in the morning. So I go over there and I don't think he did anything to me. Like, I don't have any bad memory, but who God knows, you know what I mean? These people. But anyway, to my knowledge, they didn't do anything. I just recall sleeping on a couch, maybe in the front room of this like apartment that goes straight out to the street. And my car was parked there, right? So then I got up, I was getting ready to leave in the morning, and right when I opened the door, a police car pulls up and they put a boot on it. And I'm like, wait a minute, I'm trying to escape. And then, okay, then it gets worse, because then I tell them about these people to take in my car, and they're doing all these horrible things, you know what I mean? Like, they knew about the drug ring, because they were watching it too, by the way. So then he's like, yeah, I believe you. Why don't you come in my vehicle? Because I'll show you. Like, he showed me saying he knows that they were doing this, right? And so they showed me the computer, and he's like, yeah, I could totally tell, like, what you're saying is true. Obviously, you would. He's like, you know what? You're going to pay for it. Yeah, so then they did this big cover-up. But another thing that I think tailed it off. This is my thing about the thing, and that it tailed it off. Okay, besides the fact that the cops are watching this whole ring the whole time, they totally were, okay? They're full of shit with their September bullshit, okay? So as they were watching it, because they were watching me and they were following me around and harassing me and doing all kinds of shit, right? In this time period. They were watching me get raped. They were watching me all sorts of shit, okay? Every bad thing that you could think of, the cops were there. They were watching. They were enjoying this conduct because they didn't see us as a victim at the time. You need to understand these rapist fucking pedo cops, okay? They did not talk about human trafficking then. They didn't, nothing, okay? Kids were terrible, so, they were the ones that asked for it, right? So this is the cops sitting back watching this shit. And they were flirting with me. The pedophile cops were flirting with me. They were letting men whipping out their dick all over the fucking street. So if a guy did that, then they would try to arrest the girl for it. I'm like, are you fucking kidding? So I wasn't joking about that stuff. Because if I walked down the street and some guy went, woo, they would have came up and said, you're a prostitute. Yeah, that's it. That's how they were going on, okay? This is the time period. You need to understand the time period here. And all these gangbangers were totally all into kids, okay? Because if they be running around with little 13 half-naked-year-olds going down the street, nobody gave a shit, okay? But that's beyond, that's other stuff in here. So, I'm sitting here going, what happened here? Oh, okay, yeah, so they did that. Then they let me get kidnapped. So they held me hostage here by doing that, right? They covered up the drug ring, these two fools. I don't know who the plainclothes guy is. I don't even know where I met him. It could have been, I honestly don't know, because when I was trying to escape these people, the only other people I was talking to was the dude on the corner, right? The other dude, that's a mystery, right? And then I was trying to hide out, and I went in, I had to ask people, like, help me, I need cash for this. So then I go get a room somewhere and stay away from these people. I was trying to do that. And then another guy popped in to try to help me. And then Good Morning America did that interview, right? So that was totally dated. It's like June 28th or something, right? Something like that. Okay, so there's a date on the time that they run into me. So, okay, then I have the rapist PBS job, right? Okay, so there's those guys. So then all of a sudden my income gets cut off because I can't go, I'm not going back over there. So, yeah, so at some point here, the only people I was talking to was some random people that were on next to the corner there, that they were coming out of clubs. And then I was just friendly talking with people. And then, yeah, and then these predators came in. The ones that were tied to the gay magazine, right? Yeah, so they were looking for kids, dude. Like, what the fuck? So anyway, like, they basically kidnapped me. It's basically that. They lured me over to their home in North Hollywood. And for me, at the time, I'm thinking, this is my rescue out of this shit, right? Because there's no other way out. And the cops were letting me get harmed. And then they let them steal all my stuff from my car and everything else. And then, yeah, and then they let me get kidnapped right here. Okay, so then I get kidnapped over to North Hollywood. And then the ring is still going on, right? This is like long before September. So yeah, so they're still doing shit, right? And I'm kind of freaked out. Like, I never want to go over there again. It was so horrific, right? And I want to stay away from that guy and everything else. So then it hits the news, and I think it was this nabber that tells me they got arrested. Because I remember somebody in this early portion told me, oh, they got arrested. And I was like, good. It was kind of like that. I'm a victim in it, so it's kind of interesting. So I just shut it out. Like, you just don't even want to deal with it, right? But then when I started reading the case here, I go, oh, wait a minute. Nah, it's not true at all. They made up a story here, and they left out that I was a victim, and they knew I was a victim in it. And, oh, the tail off. Okay, so I went into the police department before they did the boot thing, right? So I went into the police department. I demanded a fucking printout of one of the people in the ring, because that's the person that was doing all the main work and leg work and, all this other shit, right? And trying to recruit people and fucking everything, okay? So I go in, I go, can I get a printout of that son of a bitch? So I'm a kid, right? I'm a kid. I just walk into the police department and I demand this. And they go, who are you? I go, I'm not telling you. You know what I mean? It's none of your fucking business. So they give me the printout of his background and him being arrested and why he got arrested. I go, okay, yeah, drugs, right? So you guys knew, right? So we could pull that up. You know what I mean? So yeah, they could pull that up on the date that he was arrested here in that June, somewhere, June, July, that portion there. Yeah, so one of the ring members got arrested. So they knew about it. It wasn't a thing where they didn't know. So he was wheeling and dealing and all that shit. So they catch him for doing this shit, right? It was related to. And so I was like, yeah, so you knew two different times, right? So you knew there. And then, so that's what I'm thinking, the tail off was what made them follow me, because they knew already, right? So then when I went in to get the printout, I believe that's what tailed them off to go target me. So I don't know what the hell the inner dynamic is here, but they're a bunch of pedophiles, but then they covered up the ring. So this individual that came to my car covered up the ring. So I know this is a hard fact. This is not a debatable fact. And then they took almost $2,000 from me on that thing right there. The cops did. So then the cops kept trying to siphon money from me in different ways. It was just setting me up through the years. No. They were chasing me all over my workplace. Then they were trying to date me. Yeah, so it's like if I was a criminal, they could easily try to make up a crime, right? and throw me in jail, right? If that was their MO on it, right? But that's not what's going on here. They're harassing me and they want cash and or to rape me. Yeah, and then also they know my knowledge of this early portion right here. That's why I'm like, yes, it's a big thing that I know that they covered up a drug ring. It's a really big thing. So it means that there's some organized crime there, but I don't know if that has a relation to, it would have, okay, if you told me it had a relationship to anybody in this, if they said Suge Knight, I'd be like, yeah, I would totally believe it. Anybody else? I don't know about that. I mean, Dr. Dre maybe, because he's kind of fucking, I see that he does some fucking shady ass shit up in here too. But, the person that would be that low ball, I mean, Suge. I mean, so I don't know. That's the thing is like, I don't know, and those guys won't talk. So they start going in on this shit, right? And it's like, well, you know, because I don't know their inner dealings and I didn't hang out with, I mean, I didn't go like shopping with these people 24/7, so I don't know what the fuck their bullshit is. It was just like one day I started talking to some guy on a corner. He came to me actually, and we just kicked it back and we were talking. We were just hanging out, just talking, like just because there's nothing else to do. He wasn't doing criminal activity. That's the honest God truth. I didn't see him do shit, dude. I mean, if he was doing any drug dealing, then he was really good at it, because I didn't see him do the shit that those other people were doing. It would only be relevant if he was a narcotics agent officer, or one of the police officers. If he's one of the gang members, it would probably have the only relation it could have is just that the corrupt gang cops are targeting me because they know who those people are. That was the other thinking of this, is that because so we had the riots, right? So the cops hated people of color here. They were really on edge with every black male, okay? So they could have targeted me for the association and the assumption, right? The assumption, because the cops know that those are Crips, right? I had no fuck clue who these people are. So they know they're Crips, and they see, oh, there's this girl that's with them, and we need to target her because it appears that they have something going on, right? And then they know about the other drug ring, right? So then they probably think like I have some sort of like thing with it. See, back then, they were terrible, okay? They made assumptions left and right about things. So I don't know if it's a thing. I mean, it's just out in the open now because FBI and all these other agencies were not cooperative. So because they're not cooperative, it also raises a flag, because federal agents and everybody else were involved in the human trafficking ring by the Rampart thing as well. So their conduct was also terrible at this time with the corrupt cops. Okay, so they were all in it together. So they don't really have any initiative to really want to figure out like what was going on here, right? Because they were all involved. And they were raping women, running a human trafficking ring, dealing with drugs, and doing all this shit. But my question is like, was there a tie between these two? So the tie could just be of them targeting the gang members and assuming my association with those people. That could be the addition in it. But they also found out that I had no adults around. So since a kid, right? So they felt very comfortable taking advantage of me, knowing that information, and that my dad was not going to do anything, and he thought it was hilarious and didn't rescue me out of it, and he should have been arrested for even dumping me out here with these people. So, yeah, that was the interesting thing about it, because they found out about it just before that stuff started happening. And then, and we could prove that little situation there. That would be definitely on record. It's just, like I said, it's under a child case thing. So, why am I here without an adult? And the LAPD officers, or it was sheriffs. I'm not sure which one on that one. actually had knowledge of that. Yeah, so they were aware that the ring was going on already right here. They were aware that the ring was going on right here. Me as a kid was not sure that that was a ring. I just knew it was a whole bunch of people and they were all dealing and doing drugs and shit and buying and trying to sell and recruit people. So, I mean, if you ask me, I was like, I don't even know, what this shit is. You know what I mean? I'm trying to get out of it. And they fucking keep stealing my shit. They stole my car and I can't escape and I'm trying to escape. Next thing you know, I see Ice-T up in here working with my pedophile perp. There was a lot of people that started targeting me in the 2001 portion. And like I said, I don't know who the fuck these idiots are, but I don't care who you are. If you want to go hang out with some pedophiles, don't get mad if you're getting called a pedophile. So those people right there had a relationship. So if Ice-T's a Crip and these fucking cops are going after that shit and he's hanging out over there, or Alice has some, hired up some fucking corrupt fucking Rampart cops, which he might have, that indicates some other stuff going on over there. So yeah, they set me up because it was like they brought me to Jerry's Deli. I said that was an important thing in this too, because they try to paint another picture in this story and it's not true. But they are the ones that had me go to a place where paparazzi goes to go fucking take photos of fucking celebs. So he could show me off to Hollywood or whoever. He could have done it to set me up so somebody else sees who I look like so people could target me. Who the fuck knows, right? So they take me to this fucking restaurant and put me right at the door in this fucking booth so people can see me and him together. This was in the 97 portion, I believe, because he was telling me about the car when I was staying with that girl, and that's the girl that went on the trip when the cops did this stuff. So there is a witness, but she's the lowest piece of shit fucking ever, and she's one of the women, she's like the only woman I really wanted to fucking punch in the fucking face out of any person on this planet. If I was ever going to brawl with anybody and it's going to be the end of her, because she used me in the middle of this and set up a plot on me while I'm doing stuff for her. So I had a question about her involvement with the police officers, because she is that type of person. She is that person. And she should have been investigated as well, because she was present when this was happening. And those cops, for some reason, didn't even bother with her. So I do have a question. And they did a plot behind my back while she was taking money from us on this trip. She's lucky I let her live. Because I was like, if I'm going to go to jail for anything, this fucking beast right here, this thing right here, what the fuck did you do? Yeah, her. So, yeah, I found her photo. I posted it, then I took it down. But I still have it, yes. I have her fucking ugly face. Debbie. Deborah. The fucking cat. That thing. So during that time, Brian was talking to me and trying to get me to go to a restaurant. That thing. So I believe it was in 97. It would have been either at the end of 96 or it was 97. Because in 97, he was trying to get this is when this turned really not right. Okay, so, and then he started, like, trying to manipulate the story. I was like, okay, yeah. And then I pulled back from that whole thing. Because he's a groomer. He's a groomer, you guys. You need to understand grooming. And the grooming happened years prior. So it was a process since I was a kid. And the forgiveness part, right? So I was like, okay, should we just forgive the earlier thing? You know what I mean? Don't ever do this, guys. Don't listen to these trashy women like Judd trying to set you up. That actually could have got me murdered, by the way. It could have got me murdered because he could have been very similar to the guy that killed that other girl that we brought up, that Purse House guy. Yes, and he had a gun, by the way. And that's very dangerous. That's on a rapist to go and hang out with them and say that you forgive them. You're psychotic. They're dangerous for being a rapist to begin with. Some of these people have it in them to murder people. That guy had it in him to hurt himself, okay? So those are the things that are happening here, right? So they told me in a conversation the following year or so that he had a gun, and I didn't know he had a gun. Yeah, and so these things can end up really badly. So that is not proper information to give victims. That is stupid as hell. Yeah, so that's why I was saying this thing lasted so long just because I was thinking all stupid like that. You know what I mean? Because and also because I thought the thing was real, you know what I mean? And not this big fraud thing that some guy just wants a kid, you know what I mean? Because the earlier things were, Alice and them said, oh, yeah, yeah, and then we're all hanging out, right? And so, you know, they want to play this game over there. No, they need to be investigated even just for the corrupt cop portions. Yeah, so no celebrity should be going on like that. I don't give a shit who the fuck you are. See, they all wanted money and power, so they think they can own the world and just do whatever crimes that they want to do. They all want to be a Suge Knight, or he thinks that he shouldn't be in prison because he's a fucking asswipe. Away from the public for being a danger to everyone. I love how he goes like this. I wouldn't wish my worst enemy to go to prison. Yet he's like, he'll go kill people, right? You'd rather go kill them than put him in prison? Maybe you should go put him in prison than go running, taking your car and running everybody over, right? You know what I mean? So you think running him over is a better gig there. So yeah, he's full of shit. He's your typical sociopath. He's the dropout type sociopath that he could come off like a total teddy bear, right? Because I guess that's his charismatic part of him or something. But deep down, he's a piece of shit, dude. And inside, he's just pissed because he has to be locked up and he can't go commit his crimes on everybody else. You guys treated me bad. I'm not going to help anybody out. I don't care that my friends get shot up with me and everything, as long as I don't die. And fuck everybody, fuck everybody, fuck everybody. That's him. Like, who the hell wants that dude coming out here? I was laughing. I was like, he got so many stitches, he could talk. He could take a few more stitches. No, the damn truth was, what's funny about it is that I was like, I could swear, I was like, the guy in the corner was Suge, And then once I found out the story of what he did at that time, I go, oh no, it wouldn't be Suge. But Suge was definitely down the street. It was weird. Yeah, I was on the right track. It's just, I don't think it was Suge. Now, the thing is, I could turn around and that was Suge and he's hanging out with me, Like, I kept looking at the guy and I go, the guy isn't, the guy that it was not very distinctive. Like, he didn't have any specific things that I could pull out, to sit there and try to describe him today. And I'm not very good at just staring people in the face. I have a very hard time pulling up, facial, like, do not put him in a lineup. Because they could literally put like 10 black guys that look somewhat similar and I'd be like, I don't have a fucking clue, right? And it's not because, I'm racist or anything like that, because you could do it with white people and they'll do the same thing. It's just that I tend to look down a lot when I'm talking with people or when I'm listening to them. Like, I'll be sitting next to them, they'll be talking, so I'm not staring at their face. It's uncomfortable to me, so so I'll tend to not burn a facial memory in, but I have like a general like memory of like a very generic outline of them. Like, they're a bigger guy, taller. I don't know if he was really tall, but he was, yeah, everybody's taller than me. And very friendly looking guy, and he was extraordinarily nice to me, and he dressed like a normal person. Like, that's all I could tell you, all that. But if you were to put a facial thing, oh, fuck no. I wouldn't want to do it, because right now I could go, oh, it could be David Mack. And then I could go, oh, it's that gangbanger in the fucking car that they're saying that shot up Tupac, right? Because they have a similar thingy going on, but, if you put them side by side, you might go, oh, they look really different. But in your memory bank, it's not so detailed, right? It's kind of like a generic, thing. Like the short hair thing and this sort of more rounded, happier, friendly face type of thing. Like, he had a friendly face. Like, that's the thing about it. It's this sort of more friendly, featured face. That's what I could say about it. And Suge looks kind of like an asshole, though. I was like, let me see. I know people were probably like, "Why are you saying this stuff about?" Like when before he got like arrested, I was just like, "Are these fucking gangbangers that keep fucking chasing each other and they have to run each other over?" And it's just like, I mean, what were you guys going to tell him to just sit there and let him get killed? I mean, I don't know, but they all kind of deserve what they get over here. So, I think the only person that's trying to be a sane person is Snoop, but I don't know. He's actually not. I mean, unless, I don't think he was present. I actually heard of Snoop at the time. If you guys brought him up, I actually did hear about him because they were playing him at my work, and then everybody's like, "Ah, he's the fucking shit." Like, yeah, him I heard about. Okay, but I don't recall him in person. I don't recall him. He had one of the girls that I was worked with worked on a thing with him, but that's the only relationship there. So no. Yeah, no, I've never seen Biggie. I never seen Tupac. I never seen. Well, Suge, I don't know. Suge's fucking asshole face. Yeah, it wasn't. I don't believe it was. I don't know. I don't want to roll him out. It's just like I just didn't believe it was him, and I would almost think that he'd be standing out there with his fucking hat, trying to look all fucking pimp ass. I don't believe so. I believe it's another guy, but I just don't know. I can't rule him out. I just don't know why he would be. It was only for like a couple week period. I mean, another thing could be is because they're watching for, this is what I'm thinking. I don't know. I'm not in their shit, but maybe they would think of this. When they were out there recording that they're just on the watch for other gang members, like some shit like that, and then they're watching other activity on the streets, so they might have a whole bunch of people doing that. Like, I don't know. So that's what I'm saying. I just want a thing if I should look away from that or keep looking at that, because like I said, there was some interaction though with the guy and those other guys, and I don't know why that is. It almost didn't appear like they knew each other. It didn't appear, it was weird. It didn't seem like they knew each other. To me, it seemed like he just said, "Hey, guys, blah," doing this shit. Um, so I fucking, if I know, I don't know. This information might be helpful to other people that are not, that were like, we don't know what the fuck these guys were doing. And then they might know who I'm talking about, and they won't say it in public, right? But they might understand like what I'm saying, and I don't, because I'll be clueless because I'm talking about this. So they might know who I'm talking about. I don't know if Ola would even fucking know anything about it, because like I keep saying, like they didn't, what? Suge tried to have Eminem killed twice. Okay, yeah, I remember that, and it is possible. He apparently tried to go after Snoop too, or something. I was reading some shit here. I go, well, Suge is a terrible human, okay? Because it could be a thing like this. Okay, he's like a blood, right? And the two guys were Crips, I think. And the other guy would probably be a Crip if he's going up and giving him some threats like that. So that's my thinking of it, or it's a narcotic agent and he's fucking, you know what I mean? I don't know. But it could be a thing that Suge Knight had a thing with the ring, and if he's related to Ola in some way. Okay, so there's some music people in here, right? That have a tie with the drug thing. And then Suge could be part of that. I don't know why, but like those guys being a part of that, and there's some sort of rivalry in that. And then they know that I know about the cop portion, because isn't it him that was with all the trashy cops, hired him and all that? So, yeah, I mean, I guess like if you sat down and some people knew all that information and you just threw it on the table, and then they can come to a conclusion of what might be going on here. It's just weird because like I never knew any of that. It's like, what? I was like, it's just it's a hindsight backwards thing where I'm like, yeah, I've been getting targeted the whole fucking time, but it's not from the street gangs. I'm getting fucking goddamn fucking cops doing it. And if it's something where like Suge Knight's like ordering these fucking gang member cops to go do shit, then, you're in trouble, right? So, yeah, there's a lot in that. That's what I'm saying. I'm just throwing out the things now because government's like non-cooperative. But I'm sitting here going, why is government being non-cooperative? Because they're the ones that are supposed to be going, oh, we don't like the gang shit and all this stuff and blah, blah, blah. And so you're claiming that you're not part of that. So good. So then why wouldn't you go investigate the conduct of your cops with this shit going on here, right? You really would want to ensure that it's nothing like that either because, he is known to do shit like that. It's hard to say what happened here. Like, people may have been trying to really just off Suge, and then somebody said that, he threw fucking Tupac up as a human shield, and I was like, well, I wouldn't put that past him. So, I mean, I don't know. I can't answer him. He's that guy. He's like, he wouldn't wish it on anybody to go to prison. He's like, I run people over. I'd rather kill them. Yeah, that's that guy. No, they should he should never be able to get out. I mean, to be honest, because he's quite a danger. And I don't know who his network is there, and nor do all these other people. It's like, why is he trying to kill everybody off, It's like, what the fuck is your problem, dude? Who touched you as a kid? This guy, yeah. Yeah, so he may there could be another thing in it. That's why I was like, I wouldn't totally I question some things in this. It could be as they think right now, but I know for a fact there is some bad cops in here for sure, like 1,000%, yeah. And the people that I was talking to prior. So there's some strange relationship in it. I don't know what the thing is. So yeah, Suge maybe, because he was down the street, right? Told you, and he beat up some two people. I'm like, are the two people the dwarf? I don't know who he beat up. He beat up two other rappers or something. And this is kind of the last thing you'd ever want to do is like go insert yourself in some fucking gang wars. But technically it's a cop thing. And no matter what Suge does, he's just a straight up criminal. The thing is that the cop portion is like really important because there's gang member cops, and you don't want this in that going on at all. No, and it's their fault, and that's why then all this other criminal activity is going on because the cops are covering it up because they're all part of this underworld of being criminals and then helping these criminals out. Like, Suge probably should have got, thrown in prison a million years ago, right? And somehow, you got to start questioning this stuff. It doesn't make sense. Some of it doesn't.